Welcome back to our channel where we dive deep into the world of data analysis. In today's video, we are going to help you prepare for your SQL data analyst job interview. SQL or structured query language is a critical tool for data professionals, and mastering it is key to landing that dream job. We will be covering some common SQL data analyst interview questions and providing detailed answers to help you succeed. Whether you are just starting your career in data analysis or looking to take the next step, this video is packed with valuable insights to boost your confidence and excel in your interviews. So let's get started. And remember to hit the like button, subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you are always in the know which video will come up next. So let's dive right in. We'll start with the interview questions. And our first question is, mention the differences between data mining and data profiling. So data mining, it's the process of discovering relevant information that has not yet been identified before. And if we see about data profiling is done to evaluate a dataset for its uniqueness, logic, and consistency. And in data mining, raw data is converted into valuable information. And in data profiling, it cannot identify inaccurate or correct data values. So this is the main differences between data mining and data profiling. Moving on to the next question, and our next question is, define the term data wrangling in data analytics. So data wrangling, it's the process wherein raw data is cleaned, structured and enriched into a desired usable format for better decision making. It involves discovering, structuring, cleaning, enriching, validating and analyzing data. The process can turn and map out large amounts of data extracted from various sources into a more useful format. Techniques such as merging, grouping, concatenating, joining and sorting are used to analyze the data. Thereafter, it gets ready to be used with another dataset. So this was about data wrangling in data analytics. Moving on to the next question, that is, what are the common problems that data analysts encounter during analysis? So now we'll discuss about the common problems, and the common problems include in data analytics project are, the first is handling duplicates, and the next is collecting the meaningful right data and the right time. So the first is how to handle the duplicate data. The second is get the right data and the right time. And there are more problems that are handling data purging and storage problems. And then we have making data secure and dealing with compliance issues. So these are the common problems that data analysts face or encounter. So moving on to the next question, that are, what are the best methods for data cleaning? So here we will discuss 3 or 4 methods, and starting with, the first is create a data cleaning plan by understanding where the common errors take place and keep all the communications open. Before working with data, identify and remove the duplicates. This will lead to an easy and effective data analysis process. And the next is focus on the accuracy of the data. Set cross-field validation, maintain the value types of data and provide mandatory constraints. Number 4, normalize the data at the entry point so that it is less chaotic. You will be able to ensure that all information is standardized, leading to fewer errors on entry. So this was the best methods for data cleaning, so you should follow these steps. And now moving on to the 5th question, that is, what are the various steps involved in any analytics project? So this is one of the most basic data analyst interview questions. The various steps involved in any common analytics projects are as follows. The number 1, understanding the problem. Understand the business problem, define the organizational goals and plan for a lucrative solution. Next is collecting data. Gather the right data from various sources and other information based on your priorities. And then cleaning data. Clean the data to remove unwanted, redundant and missing values and make it ready for analysis. And then we have exploring and analyzing data, that is, use data visualization and business intelligence tools, data mining techniques and predictive modeling to analyze data. And then interpreting the results. Interpret the results to find out hidden patterns, future trends and gain insights. So this was all about the various steps involved in any analytics project. And moving on to the next question, that is, what is the significance of exploratory data analysis, EDA? So moving on to the answer, we'll find out the significance, that is, exploratory data analysis, EDA, helps to understand the data better. It helps you obtain confidence in your data to a point where you are ready to engage a machine learning algorithm. It allows you to refine your selection of feature variables that will be used later for model building. You can discover hidden trends and insights from the data. So these are the significance of EDA, that is exploratory data analysis. Moving on to the next question, that is explain descriptive, predictive and prescriptive analytics. So we'll start with descriptive. So it provides insights into the past to answer what has happened, and whereas in predictive, it understands the future to answer what could happen. And if we see about prescriptive, it suggests various courses of action to answer. What should you do? And the another point for descriptive is it uses data aggregation and data mining techniques. And for predictive, it uses statistical models and forecasting techniques. And for prescriptive, it uses simulation algorithms and optimization techniques to advise possible outcomes. And now just listen to an example, that is for descriptive, an ice cream company can analyze how much ice cream was sold, which flavors were sold, and whether more or less ice cream was sold than the day before. And for predictive, an ice cream company can analyze how much ice cream was sold, which flavors were sold, and whether more or less ice cream was sold than the day before. And for prescriptive, lower prices to increase the sale of ice cream, produce more or fewer quantities of a specific flavor of ice cream. So this was all about descriptive, predictive and prescriptive analytics. Moving on to the next question, that is what are the different types of sampling techniques used by data analysts. So we'll talk about the sampling first. So sampling is a statistical method to select a subset of data from an entire data set to estimate the characteristics of the whole population. And there are majorly 5 types of sampling methods. The number 1 is simple random sampling. Number 2, systematic sampling. Number 3, cluster sampling. Number 4, stratified sampling. Number 5, judgmental or purposive sampling. So this was all about the sampling techniques used by data analysts. Moving on to the next question, that is describe univariate, bivariate and multivariate analysis. So we'll just describe all the three and we'll start with univariate. So we'll start with an example, or just we will have a little definition about it. That is, univariate analysis is the simplest and easiest form of data analysis where the data being analyzed contains only one variable. An example, studying the heights of players in the NBA. And univariate analysis can be described using central tendency, dispersion, quartiles, bar charts, histograms, pie charts, and frequency distribution tables. And moving on to the bivariate analysis involves the analysis of two variables to find causes, relationships, and correlations between the variables. For example, analyzing the sale of ice creams based on the temperature outside. The bivariate analysis can be explained using correlation coefficients, linear regression, logistic regression, scatter plots, and box plots. Now talking about the multivariate analysis. The multivariate analysis involves the analysis of 3 or more variables to understand the relationship of each variable with the other variables. Example, analyzing revenue based on expenditure. And multivariate analysis can be performed using multiple regression, factor analysis, classification and regression trees, cluster analysis, principal component analysis, dual axis charts, etc. So this was all about the 3 univariate, bivariate and multivariate analysis. And moving on to the next question, that is how can you handle missing values in a data set. So this is one of the most frequently asked data analyst interview questions, and the interviewer expects you to give a detailed answer here and not just the name of the method. There are 4 methods to handle missing values in a data set. So we'll see one by one. The first is list-wise deletion. In the list-wise deletion method, an entire record is excluded from analysis if any single value is missing. The next is average imputation. Take the average value of the other participants' responses and fill in the missing value. The next is regression substitution. You can use multiple regression analysis to estimate a missing value. Number 4, multiple imputations. It creates plausible values based on the correlations for the missing data and then averages the simulated datasets by incorporating random errors in your predictions. So these are the 4 methods to handle missing values in a dataset. Now moving on to the next question, that is explain the term normal distribution. Normal distribution refers to a continuous probability distribution that is systematic about the mean. In a graph, normal distribution will appear as a bell curve. So the mean, median and mode are equal. All of them are located in the center of the distribution. And moving on to the next, that is 68% of the data falls within one standard deviation of the mean. The next is 95% of the data lies between two standard deviations of the mean. And then we have 99.7% of the data that lies between 3 standard deviations of the mean. So this was all about the term normal distribution. Now moving on to the next question, that is what is time series analysis? So time series analysis is a statistical procedure that deals with the ordered sequence of values of a variable at equally spaced time intervals. Time series data are collected at adjacent periods, so there is a correlation between the observations. This feature distinguishes time series data from cross-sectional data. So this was about the time series analysis. Now moving on to the next question, that is how is overfitting different from underfitting? So this is another frequently asked data analyst interview questions, and you are expected to cover all the given differences. So we'll start with the differences between overfitting and underfitting. So in overfitting, the model trains the data well using the training set, and while in underfitting, the model neither trains the data well nor can generalize to new data. In overfitting, the performance drops considerably over the test set, and in underfitting, it performs poorly both on the train and the test set. In overfitting, it happens when the model learns the random fluctuations and noise in the training dataset in detail. In underfitting, this happens when there is lesser data to build an accurate model and when we try to develop a linear model using non-linear data. And now, I have an announcement for you guys. That is, if you're someone who is interested in building a career in data analysis by graduating from the best universities, or a professional who elicits to switch careers with data analysis by learning from the experts, then try giving a shot to Simplilearn's Caltech Data Analytics Bootcamp in collaboration with IBM. The bootcamp link is mentioned in the description box that will navigate you to the course page, where you can find a complete overview of the program being offered. And now, moving on to the next question, that is 14th question. And our question is, what are the different types of hypothesis testing? So this is also a very frequently asked question. And hypothesis testing is the procedure used by statisticians and scientists to accept or reject statistical hypotheses. There are mainly 2 types of hypothesis testing. Number 1 is null hypothesis. Number 2 is alternative hypothesis. So in null hypothesis, it states that there is no relation between the predictor and outcome variables in the population, and H0 denotes it. For example, there is no association between a patient's BMI, body mass index, and diabetes. And talking about alternative hypothesis, it states that there is some relation between the predictor and outcome variables in the population. It is denoted by H1. And for example, there could be an association between a patient's BMI and diabetes. So this was about the 2 hypothesis testing. Moving on to the next question, that is explain the type 1 and type 2 errors in statistics. So moving on, in hypothesis testing, a type 1 error occurs when the null hypothesis is rejected even if it is true. It is also known as a false positive. So in type 2, it occurs when the null hypothesis is not rejected even if it is false. It is also known as a false negative. Moving on to the next question, that is what is the difference between count, count A, count blank, and countif in Excel. So these are the functions in Excel, and we'll see the differences. So count function returns the count of numeric cells in a range, whereas count A function counts the non-blank cells in a range, and count blank function gives the count of blank cells in a range, and countif functions return the count of values by checking a given condition. So these are the differences between all the 4 functions. And moving on to the next question, that is, can you provide a dynamic range in data source for a pivot table? So the answer is yes, you can provide, and you can provide a dynamic range in data source of pivot tables. So to do that, you need to create a named range using the offset function and base the pivot table using a named range constructed in the first step. So this was about how you can provide a dynamic range in data source. And moving on to the next question, that is, what is the difference between a where clause and a having clause in SQL? So these are the two clauses, that is where clause and having clause, and now we'll see the differences between them. So where clause operates on raw data, whereas the having clause operates on aggregated data. And in the where clause, the filter occurs before any groupings are made, and in having clause, it is used to filter values from a group. And in where clause, aggregate functions cannot be used, whereas in having clause, aggregate functions can be used. And now we'll see the syntax for both, that is where clause and having clause. So syntax of where clause, that is, you could just start with select the name of the columns, column 1, column 2, and then from table name and then the condition, where condition. And talking about the having clause, you could just select column names, write the column names from the table name and where condition, and then group by column names having that condition and order by from which you want to sort or filter, that is order by. So these are the syntax, and we have seen the difference between a where clause and a having clause. And now moving on to the next question, that is explain how VLOOKUP works in Excel. So VLOOKUP, it's also a very general question. So VLOOKUP is used when you need to find things in a table or a range by row. So VLOOKUP accepts the following 4 parameters. The number 1 is lookup underscore value. So the value to look for in the first column of a table, for that we use lookup underscore value. And we use the table from where you can extract value, and column index col underscore index, the column from which to extract value, and then we have range underscore lookup. So here true equal to approximate match, that is default, that is approximate values are matched, and if it is false, that means it is a exact match. So this was all about the VLOOKUP. And moving on to the next question, that is 20th question, and that is how can you handle missing values in a data set. So this is one of the most frequently asked data analyst interview questions, and the interviewer expects you to give a detailed answer here, and not just the name of the methods. There are 4 methods to handle missing values. The number 1 is list-wise deletion. In the list-wise deletion method, an entire record is excluded from analysis if any single value is missing. And then we have average imputation. Take the average value of the other participants' responses and fill in the missing value. Then we have regression substitution. You can use multiple regression analysis to estimate a missing value. And then we have multiple imputations. It creates plausible values based on the correlations of the missing data and then averages the simulated data sets by incorporating random errors in your predictions. So this was all about how you can handle missing values in a data set. And thanks for joining us today as we talked and tackled some essential SQL data analyst interview questions. We hope you found this video informative and valuable in your job preparation journey. And now, let's take a minute to hear from our learners who have experienced massive success in their careers.
Upskilling is extremely essential for any working professional nowadays. After completing the Professional Certificate Program in Data Analytics from Simplilearn in partnership with Purdue University, my career took a significant turn. I was able to change my career domain from teaching kids to providing supportive services to adults at the Department of Rehabilitation in San Francisco. The experience that I have with Simplilearn was amazing. The faculty was very encouraging. I'm excited about my future, and I encourage all professionals.
And if you have any more questions or want to see more content like this, please let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more insightful videos on data analysis. And best of luck with your upcoming interviews, and remember, with the right knowledge and practice, you have got this. See you in the next video. Get simplified, get ahead.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.